All right, we are ready to start editing video. And so I know you want to jump into Premiere, but actually there's a step first that's really important. You need to set up a special folder and put everything that you're going to use for a project inside of it. Now you may be wondering why that's important, and it's very critical. The reason is because Premiere does not embed your media files into the project. So you're using video clips and photos and stuff. It doesn't bring them into the project embedded. It points to their location. So if you move things location, then it's going to end up, you're going to see all of these can't find the file notices, error messages. So the first step I did is I just came out to my desktop to make it easy, and I set up this folder called screencast video. And inside that, I have put everything that I'm going to be using. Now, if later I decide I need something else, don't just grab it from wherever it's at, on your computer. Move it into here and then use it in your project. All right, so we have the folder, it got stuff in it. Now let's go to Premiere. So it will launch and you will see something like this. You may see a tutorial screen the first time you do it, but I'm going to select New Project. I'm going to give it a title. In this case, it's going to be like Class 1. Okay. And then I'm going to tell it where this project's going to be located. It should be located in that same special folder. And so I click on here and I say I'm going to choose location, and I'm going to come up to the desktop, and I'm actually already there. So, I'll come back to it again so you can see it. There's the screencast video folder, so I select it. Now, the thing that you will learn really fast in Premiere is that there are at least 3 ways to do every single task. And it's just a matter of preference. So can you import the files, like the media files you're going to be using from this screen? Sure. I don't. So I just hit create. So I have a name, I have a location, and I've hit create. And it's going to be slow because not only am I running Premiere, but I'm running a screencast program. So, it's slow. Now, could you come up here and could you import even now that you're inside the program? You could, but I don't. I'm old school. So I come up and I hit File and I hit Import, and then I select them. There is a reason I still like to do it that way, and it's because when you do it this way, and I'm selecting them all except for the project, then they come right over here into your little library and not on your timeline, which is what I like. So this little library, we call it the bins. You can change the view. Like I'm in outline view, I could change it to icons. I could see them like that and tell which ones are video and audio and images. It's just preference. You can make it different sizes. You can organize these into little folders, little, sub bins and stuff. You can color code them. All of that really helps when you start having, a lot more files. And so you can search through all of that. But for now, let's put one of these up on the screen. And so, this is the timeline. In fact, take a moment to look at the panels. These are all little panels, and they're floating panels. And what does that mean? It means you can move them around and resize them and just all sorts of stuff, and they float. And so people do that according to their preference. Let me recommend that you don't do that for a while. So it's just going to be a lot simpler if your screen kind of looks standard like my screen. But as you get more and more used to it, you can put your favorite little panels where you want them, and all sorts of good stuff. And so we're going to be over here at this one on the left. It's called the source monitor. So this is like your preview panel. This is where you put things to kind of look at them before you put them on your timeline. So let's grab one of these, maybe this still image, and I'll just drag it up there, and now I can see that it's there. And so, it's an image, so I can't really play it. I mean, it's just going to sit there. It's an image. And so I go, okay, I think I would like to put that on my timeline. And so then I can drag it from there or somewhere else, and I can just throw it down here on the timeline. Now, ta-da, your timeline came alive. And so we're going to talk later about all these tracks and all that kind of stuff, but by default, it just put the photo on the first little video track there, and it gave it a default length. Now, one of the things you're learning in this unit is to change that default length. So if I wanted to, I could, and again, many ways to do this, but a lot of times what I'll do is I'll right click and I'll choose speed duration, and then I will just change its duration. So it came in at 4:30. I might change this to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And you just experiment, but you can see how it shortened it. So you can change the length of them. You can also change the default length that photos come in so that it does it for every single one of your photos. Lots and lots and lots of options in Premiere. But let's have a photo. So we do. Now you have your timeline, and you can do what we call scrubbing it. And what does that mean? It basically means that we can move the playhead and go through the timeline. And you can see it move over here on your right. This is your preview of your movie. Now, it's not doing anything because, again, it's a still image. But that is scrubbing it. And you can also hit play up here. So let's put a video in so that it looks more exciting. And so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to take this polar bear movie. I'm going to put it in the preview in the little source panel over here. And now let's play this one. And now you can see the polar bear moving. And so if I wanted to put this whole clip down here on the timeline, I could just grab it and drag it. Now for videos, obviously it's going to take up as much space as the actual video. And so that's what you're seeing down here. Now, if you don't like, the kind of the size of your timeline, you can move this little panel and make it bigger or smaller so that I can see more, or, I can zoom in or I can zoom out. And so I can see this. This top row tells me how long my overall movie is at this point. So it's about, 10.5 seconds or something like that. So now if I scrub it, you can see it changing in the right. And you can see it brought in both the video and the audio. Now you can separate these and you can get rid of one of them if you want. And again, lots of ways, but I tend to usually right click and choose unlink, and then they become unlinked. They're separate entities. I can click on one or the other, and then I can just literally hit delete and I can get rid of the audio. And so that's something else that you can do. Now, a lot of times you don't want the whole video. You want parts of the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete the whole video out of my timeline. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to watch this video, and let's see it play again. And you'll notice that at one point my hair comes across the screen. So let's say that I wanted to start the video after that. Maybe I wanted to do a little bit before and a little bit after it, but for our first little attempt here, let's just say I want to start, and I only want to import down here to the timeline this last portion of the video. So I get it here where I wanted it, and again I can move it around and say, oh yeah, that's where the hair, okay, so about here, and I can press this little button which is called an endpoint. And you'll see that now it starts here for the time, and I can move and say, okay, I want it to go all the way to the end, and then I'll put an endpoint. Almost the end. Now, when I drag this down, I'll only get that portion of the video. And so if I play it, ta-da, I only get that segment. I don't get all of the whole video that had my hair in it and everything. So those are some techniques as we get started. That with the in and out points, and it came with audio, but we don't really want that audio. So one thing I usually do, or again, there's more than one way to do it, but the way I do it is I right click on it and unlink the two. So it's unlinking the video from the audio, and then I can just come on here and click the audio and hit delete. And so then let's say I want a different audio track to play. Well, I have one over here with a matrix, and it's an audio file. So I'm just going to drag it over into the audio one there and drop it. And now if we scrub this, we can hear the matrix. And so that's how easy it is to get an audio track. You will notice that this one is obviously much longer than it needs to be. One quick way to solve that, and I don't even think it's in our objectives for this week, so it's a bonus here for you, but you can come click this little razor tool and then just click on the location you want to split the audio, and then it becomes two different tracks. So when you come back, get your arrow again, now you can click on the second half and just hit delete, and now the audio matches the length of the video. So that's one way you can do it. Another thing you might want to do is you might want the audio from an actual video. So I could, let's just take away the matrix, and I could come over here and let me show you my fireworks video. Now this is a video, not an audio track, but let's play it and you can see it. We got to start at the beginning. Okay, so we don't actually want the fireworks in here, the image of them, we just want the sound. And so I could drag it down and unlock it again, or I could just hover over this one that says just drag the audio. So I'll do that and I'll drag the audio down, and it just brought that for me. And so now if I scrub it, you'll hear the fireworks. All right, so another way that you can get audio in there, if you have a video that you just want that track, the soundtrack of. Let's see, I think that about wraps it up. We've actually covered a whole lot for this first lesson, because we looked at the panels and how you can move them around. We did different ways to import. We looked at our bin over here and how we could change it around, resize the timeline. We put things in our source and previewed them. We even selected in and out points to select portions. Then we brought them over here and dropped them in our timeline. We were able to change the length of still photos. We then could watch, our preview video up here, and we learned how to split the video and audio and put in our own, music background or whatever we wanted. So quite a bit for this first lesson, and I will let you digest on that. But before we go, the final thing we need to do is be able to send your product to me, and we're going to do that by using this little button right here called the Quick Export. So make sure you've saved your project, and you always want to save periodically. I mean, don't wait till you're done by any means. Save all the time. But then once you've done that, you're going to come hit this export button. And this is the quick export. So, it's going to have all the settings, already set up. You're going to come over here, and again, you can choose your name and location. It just usually picks like the first name. I don't remember on the timeline or in your bins, but you change it to say something. And I'd done one of these before, so that's why you're seeing it up there. But if I hadn't, I could type it. Finished 2. And so I put it in the same little folder where everything else is, and I hit save. That just tells it where it's going to be. I just leave the presets and then I hit export. And depending on how long your video is, depends on how long it takes. This one's really quick. But when it finishes, then you're going to have a file over here in your little folder, and you'll see it here, and there's the one we just did. And this is what you're going to upload to Brightspace. Alrighty, I think that does it for this this screencast. So enjoy